What's up guys, my name is Avi and आज हम बात करेंगे how to stretch your hip flexor muscles properly. So guys, hip flexor muscle group present होता है आपके pelvis region के just सामने. So it's a combination of 3 to 5 muscle groups. उनमें से जो सबसे common है which is your rectus femoris, your iliopsoas and your TFL muscle and 2 to 3 more muscle groups, right? So ये muscle groups साथ में मिलके combine करते हैं आपके hip flexor muscles को. Now हम specifically अलग से वीडियो बना रहे हैं hip flexor muscles के बारे में. इसका मतलब it must be an important muscle group. So why do you need the hip flexors? So guys, each and every moment in which you lift your knees off the floor towards your chest, हर वो moment जिसमें आपके hip joint में bending होती है, आपके hip joint में flexion motion होता है, the simplest task like walking, jogging, running, getting up from a chair, sitting down on a chair, squatting, deadlifting, all of these movements are assisted by your hip flexor muscles present right here. So what's the problem now? So guys, hip flexor muscle एक ऐसा muscle group है जो काफ़ी ज़्यादा susceptible होता है tight हो जाने के due to various reasons, because of which it might lead to pain in your lower back or in your hip joints, or pain in the adductors, inside muscles, in your knee and your ankle if you're working out continuously with tight hip flexors, right? So tightness का reason हो सकता है if your hip flexors are weak, if you're doing a 9 to 5 job, अगर आप सिर्फ बैठे रहते हो बहुत देर तक चेयर पे, or due to some sudden trauma or injury, or the third reason might be overusing of hip flexors, right? So अगर आप काफ़ी intense workout कर रहे हो, काफ़ी ज़्यादा hip flexors का use है, but you're not stretching them enough, eventually your hip flexors are gonna get tight, which might lead to pain in your lower back and your hips. So guys, such a common way of doing the hip flexor stretch which I see most of the people doing, which I personally do not like at all, looks something like this. So let's say a big step forward, my left knee is on the floor. So जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था hip flexor present होता है आपके pelvis region के सामने. So if your left knee is on the floor, I will be stretching the left hip flexor at that time. ठीक है? Right? Okay guys, so this is how it looks, right? So my one step is forward, I would be stretching the left hip flexor at this time, my chest is out, back is arched, and I'm gonna push the hip joint forward and hold here, right? So I do feel a stretch here, but there are two things which I do not like about this. I hope you can see the first thing, which is overarching of the back. Right, so guys, as you can see here, जब मैं अपने hips को ऐसे आगे push कर रहा हूँ, what I'm doing is I'm tilting my pelvis forward, which is called an APT, anterior pelvic tilt, guys. So guys, अगर आप कोई भी exercise या warm up या stretch अपने pelvis region को anteriorly tilt करके कर रहे हो, eventually it is gonna cause back pain, right? So आपके hip flexors को tight होने की ज़रूरत भी नहीं है, क्योंकि आप already APT में कोई motion कर रहे हो, right? Second thing guys, which I do not like about this particular way is I do feel a stretch on the hip flexors, but I also feel some stretch in my hamstring and glutes, right? So उसमें ऐसा problem नहीं है, उसमें problem है actually. उसमें problem ये है that you're dividing and you're distributing the effect of the stretch into 2 to 3 muscle groups, right? So it's a distributed stretch. It's not really focusing just on your hip flexors. So guys, now how are we gonna correct it? So first thing is the overarching of the back है. I'm gonna correct this thing. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tuck my hips inside, right? मैं अपने pelvis को neutral position पे लाऊंगा और I'm gonna tilt it backwards, also called a posterior pelvic tilt, right? Basically आपको neutral रखने की कोशिश करना है अपने lower back को. My feet are slightly in front of the knees. My torso is straight, chest is still out. Now assuming आपका hip flexor एक vertical muscle fiber है, right? Just for your understanding purpose, assuming the hip flexor is a vertical muscle fiber, कोई muscle fiber तब stretch होता है जब उसके अंदर के muscle cells move away from each other, right? That's gonna happen when I push the pelvis forward and down, ताकि आपका hip flexor muscle नीचे से stretch हो, and at the same time I'm gonna keep my torso back only, right? So I'm gonna pull my torso slightly back so that I pull the hip flexor slightly up and stretch it even more. Right guys, so ये सब exaggerate करके मैं बता रहा हूँ for your understanding. Now when you do it normally, it's gonna look something like this. I tuck my hips in, I'm gonna flex my left hip and I'm gonna push the hip flexor forward. I'm gonna push my pelvis forward, and now I feel a lot better stretch instead of this one, right? I'll just summarize it again. Tuck your hips in, flex your left hip, very very important, and just push the pelvis region forward while keeping your torso back and straight and relax. Right guys, so अगर आप workout के end में अपना hip flexor stretch कर रहे हो, so make sure you're stretching, you're holding this stretch for 25 to 35 seconds. Next very very important thing is guys, जब आप ये stretch कर रहे हो, make sure it's not a pinching sensation, right? It should be a steady pull, right? So because आपको 30 seconds approximately hold करना है, so इतना overstretch नहीं करना कि आप 10 सेकंड में थक जाओ, right? So it can also cause muscle tear. So make sure it's a steady and controlled pull. So guys, is tight hip flexor same as a weak hip flexor? ये difference जानना बहुत ज़्यादा important है, because let's say अगर आपके hip flexor सिर्फ weak हैं and they are not tight, so will just stretching the hip flexor gonna solve the problem or not? Right, so ये difference हम समझेंगे in the next part of this video guys, in the next part of this topic, so make sure you stay tuned for that one too. So guys, अगर आपको ये video helpful लगी है, so please write it down in the comment section and do not forget to share this video with your friends and family, especially वो लोग जो 9 to 5 job करते हैं, जो काफ़ी ज़्यादा time spend करते हैं chair पे बैठ के काम करने के लिए. So make sure you share this video with those people, and that's it from my side guys. Until then, see you soon.